Welcome to openmentor.net. In this session, we are going to see attributes and constructors. Let us take this class declaration. Class 2. I have declared 3 attributes. Before any methods, all the attributes must be declared. Attributes, pretty much like the methods, do have the public private access modifiers. Attributes also have that. Let us first discuss only public and private. For the others we will do later. I have got 3 attributes: CURR, volt, and resistance. This is basically current, voltage, and resistance. What I have done is, there is a method I have declared, that class 2. This class 2 has the same name as the class name. So if you have a method that has the same name as the class name, this is called constructor. So if you want to initialize some of the attributes, because when you instantiate the class, these need to be initialized to some values. What are the values that we need to initialize? You pass those 3 values, then the respective attributes will get initialized to that. So the constructor is mainly used to initialize some of the or all of the attributes of a particular class. There are different uses for the constructor, but this is the main use. Now I have got another public method, calculate resistance. As you all know, resistance is equal to V by I. So I pass these 2 parameters. All I do is I use the attribute of the class itself to store the V by I value. Okay, fine. So how do you call this? Same way. Look here, class C2 equal to new of class 2. Previously, in the last example that we have seen, we have not given any of these parameters. Now I am passing 0, 0, 0. That means the attributes of the class, volt, current, and resistance, will be set to 0 when the class is initialized. Now I call the method calculate resistance, passing 10 and 5 as parameters. So what will happen? 10 will be substituted for V, 5 will be substituted for I. This attribute resistance will be set to 10 divided by 5. Now look here, I am not storing that value in another variable. I am straight away calling that C2 dot resistance, pretty much like you call object dot method name. Object dot attribute name will return the property value. Let us compile this program and then print it. Now this is in class main. Then it goes to calculate resistance. It comes back. We are printing that C2.resist wave attribute. It says 2, 10 divided by 5. I am not printing the value here. I am printing the value only in the main, and that object C2 holds the attribute's value 10 divided by 5 equal to 2. This is a public attribute. All the attributes are public. Now what I want to do is I want to have one of the attributes as private. Let us see how we can do that. I made the attribute resistance as private attribute, and I am trying to print that C2.resistance attribute from another place. I compiled it. When I compile, it has resist has private access in class 2. So you cannot access this attribute. In the last example we have seen, you cannot access private methods from outside. Same way, private attributes also cannot be accessed from outside. So let us correct this problem. So since we have made this resistance as private, this cannot be directly accessed from outside. So what we do is we provide a public method, getResist. It will return the resistance value as an integer value. So you cannot directly set some value or get some value to that particular attribute of this class 2. Instead, you give a public method that in turn returns the value. So in order to access that, in the main, what I'm doing is I have declared variable r equal to c2.getResist. So you cannot directly manipulate c2.resist. So you have to access this method. That method will return the resistance value. You can manipulate in other variables. So let us execute this. Now when I do this, it is in class main. It calls the resistance. Then it comes back to the main. Then it prints resistance equal to 2. How does it happen? You have initialized to 0, 0, 0. Then you are calling that with 10 divided by 5. This calculates that value. So this method is called because this is a public method. Since this resistance is a private attribute, no harm in setting that value inside class 2. But the moment you access that c2.resist, it gives problem. So we have declared another method getResist to return the resistance value of this particular class. Then in this instance, what is the resistance value? It returns to this variable. You can manipulate this variable. So if it is private, you cannot directly access that. You need to get into the class through some method. From that method, it can manipulate that particular attribute. So this is a perfect way of providing the access to the particular attribute or a method. So public attributes are open to all. Any class, any method can access that particular attribute of this class. Whereas private attributes, you have to use the return or the get methods to get those attributes in other classes. You cannot directly manipulate those attributes. With this, we end this session here. Thank you.